What's up, YouTube? I wanted to give you my take on the current events that are happening right now, from the recent eclipse to the hurricanes now to September 23rd, 2017, which is supposed to be a significant date. So we'll get into that a little later. But first off, I want to talk about these recent hurricanes, from Hurricane Harvey to now Hurricane Irma. So a lot of people, I've been listening and reading articles and things on Facebook and of that nature, where some people think that it's the ancestors that are coming and bringing and wreaking havoc on the earth. And then other opinions have been that HARP has been manipulating the weather and bringing about these hurricanes. And some believe that it's just a natural disaster, or these are just natural things that happen upon the earth. Right now, my opinion on that and my take is, I'm having a real hard time with this one. It's either or. It's either really a natural disasters that are happening on the earth because the earth is changing. And also, I'm leaning towards HARP because HARP is known for manipulating the weather. But anywho, that's neither here nor there. So right now, I'm going to go with natural disasters that are occurring upon the earth. And basically, with that, the earth is going through changes. So with that being said, we are experiencing right now, the earth, I believe, is going from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius. And I think that these are some of the things that have to occur and have to take place because it is preparing the earth for the shift and for the change. And as far as humans are concerned, with us moving along with this shift and moving along with this change, it starts within the mind. So it starts with our consciousness, and it starts with we as the people of the earth and the human beings waking up and awakening to this new transformation, if you will. So it's about preparing yourself mentally and physically for these changes that are happening right now and these changes that are coming upon the earth. So that's my take on it with as far as the hurricanes are concerned. And then also we have the fires that have been happening lately. The 8.2, I believe, earthquake that happened in Mexico. The earth is really trying to communicate with us and trying to tell us something, but it is our responsibility to awaken and to educate ourselves as much as we possibly can. And also wanted to jump on just a little bit about the solar flares. We've had two major solar flares within the recent days. And also that could be bringing on these particular weather phenomenons that we've been witnessing thus far. So with the solar flares, it affects people in certain ways. And I think that if you are connected with the universe or you're connected with the cosmos, you kind of feel these things and you experience these things. And right now I'm taking it on a level of from an ancient standpoint, ancient Kemet standpoint, ancient African standpoint. African people that are in tune with themselves and that are in tune with nature, we kind of feel the effects of it and we kind of feel these changes that are happening. So one of the things that I wanted to point out was that with the as far as the solar flares are concerned, with me myself from a personal perspective, now I'm prone to having headaches and sinus headaches, and for the few days I've had these headaches and just had a headache today. And normally with solar flares, and if you're dealing with these things as far as the physical body is concerned, you can be affected by the changes. And so one of the things that I wanted to point out was that, going through with the zodiac sign, each zodiac sign has a particular area of the body that it relates to. So I found this information on the website, of course, the web where I research. It's called The Zodiac as It Relates to the Body. So if you want to check that out, just go to Google and you can type in The Zodiac as It Relates to the Body. And this particular article should pop up, and it's by Molly Hall. So I'm an Aries, and so Aries are prone to having headaches, and it's associated with the upper body, is associated with the head. So it says here, Aries rules the head, including the face, brain, and eyes. Aries is prone to migraines, head injuries, and sinus pressure. For an Aries, a head massage is pure heaven. And that's true, because sometimes I go in and massage my head, so on and so forth. But as of late, and I'm not saying, or I'm not trying to correlate or relate this particular pain to the solar flares, but it is a great possibility that this could be affecting it and causing it. But of course, I do suffer from sinuses, and I've had pressure here, so this is probably coming from sinus headache. That's a great possibility of what could be bringing on the sinus headache. It's maybe what's happening with these massive solar flares that's been going on within the past few days, and maybe a lot of people hadn't heard about it because it hasn't really caused major havoc as far as we would say concerning with technology, because a lot of times when solar flares occur, it can cause issues with technology, technical difficulties with computers, and whether you can log on, cell phones and things of that nature, and towers. So, but we haven't had a major issue with that, not as of yet. But with the way things are going on right now, who's to say? It's a possibility that it could happen, and it's just up to us, and it's our job to prepare ourselves. And I'm going to give you some tips and some ideas of how you could do that, as far as from what I've studied and researched. Now, remember, I am no expert. I do not consider myself to be an expert. I'm just, someone who likes to read and just present the information that I've read so that I can present it to you, so that, you can check it out for yourselves. Period. All right, moving on. Now, Taurus rules the throat, including the neck, thyroid gland, and vocal tract. Taurians often have a long or thick neck, or their neck is a standout feature. Taurians can have a tendency to have sweet-sounding voices or a musical inclination. So basically, that's the portion of the body that correlates with the zodiac sign Taurus. And before I go any further with that, I talked about the solar flares. So let me tell you the definition of a solar flare. So what is a solar flare? It's a brief eruption of intense high energy radiation from the sun's surface associated with sunspots and causing electromagnetic disturbances on the earth, as with radio frequency communications and power line transmission. So basically, whenever the sun begins to emit these particular energies on the earth, this is what can cause or wreak havoc on communication. And basically the sunspots, that's also what I wanted to talk about. Sunspots, and I read the title of the article. I didn't read the actual article. I just glimpsed or glanced at the title of the article where it says scientists are confused or about the sun because something's going wrong with the sun. So we were talking about the sunspots, and I also read where an excerpt where if you still have your solar eclipse glasses like I do, you can take your solar eclipse glasses and you can go see the sun, and you can see some of the sunspots that are on the sun, but to get an in-depth look, you probably would have to use a telescope or high-powered telescope. But it's a possibility that you can see it with the naked eye while using the while using the eclipse glasses. All right, so let's go on to the next zodiac sign so you can see how it affects the body. Gemini is up next, the twins. All right, Gemini rules the nervous system, which includes the shoulders, lungs, arms, hands, and fingers. Gemini, as the twins, demonstrates the duality of these body parts. Two of each split right down the middle. Gemini is prone to carpal tunnel syndrome, anxiety, nervous or fidgety problems, smoking-related illnesses, and breathing issues. Now, if you are experiencing some of these things, you may not necessarily be a Taurus, but, a lot of times we experience certain symptoms and certain ailments, and it's not always related to your zodiac sign. But for me, what I just read about Aries with the head, this was spot on for me. I can't speak for anyone else. All right, moving on. Next is Cancer. Cancer rules the chest, including the breasts and stomach. Cancers have digestive problems and struggles with weight. Those born under Cancer have a large bust for both men and women. In the case of men, the men might exhibit nicely defined pectoral muscles, and that's always nice to look at. Yeah. Leo. Leo rules the heart, spine, spinal column, and upper back. Leos are known to be warm-hearted or lion-hearted. They have a strong backbone and are known to be brave. If Leo does not follow passion and no joy, there can be heart disease. And that's something that's very serious and something that you don't want. So I guess that's telling the Leos out there, always follow your passions. And not only Leos, but every sign of the zodiac should be following your passion if you at all possible. And if you can do that. All right, moving on. Virgo. My mommy's a Virgo. And she just recently celebrated her birthday on September 2nd. And once again, happy birthday, Ma. Love you. Okay. Virgo rules the digestive system, which includes the intestines and spleen. These people have an instinctive intuition about their well-being, such as a gut instinct or gut feeling. Now, according to my mom, she is very good at checking out her health. Now, with some of these things that have been mentioned here, as far as Virgo is concerned, I don't think my mom suffers from any of those things. But I will say that my mom, if something doesn't feel right, she's on that internet and she's researching and she's looking up natural remedies to help assist with the problem. So that's mom. Scorpio. Scorpio rules the reproductive system, sex organs, bowels, and excretory system. So those are just a few of the zodiac signs. We know that we have 12 zodiac signs, and I've just gone through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've gone through 7. So if you want the others, you can go on the zodiac as it relates to the body, and you can find the rest of the information. But I just wanted to put those out there for you. And recently read an article about September 23rd, 2017. So that's supposed to be a special day. That's on a Saturday, I believe, where the planet's supposed to line up actually. And this article, which can be found on, truththeory.com, That's truth, TRUTH, theory, THEROY.com. And the title of the article is Hurricane Harvey, Irma, and the most powerful solar flare in a decade, signs of a biblical prophecy. Okay, is Hurricane Harvey, Irma, and the most powerful solar flare in a decade, signs of a biblical prophecy. And this article is by, the author's name is is Luke Miller is the author of this article. And you can find this article on Google. I found it on Facebook. A Facebook friend posted it, and so I was interested in it, read it, and I said, oh, I've got to repost this. So that's what I did. So the article goes in. I'm going to give you a quick overview of the article, and it talks about 3 cataclysmic events have happened in the space of a few short weeks, but there is also a once-in-a-lifetime astrological alignment that points to the 23rd of September being the fulfillment of a biblical prophecy. Now, when I talk about biblical prophecy, and also what I found in the article that I agree with the author on, is that I use the Bible for metaphorical and allegorical, from an allegorical perspective. That's how I use the Bible and how I see the Bible. Now, to make a long story short, yes, I used to practice Christianity. Yes, I used to go to church on Sundays when I was going to church on Sundays, and then also Seventh-day Adventist was going to church on Saturdays, until I was introduced to the ancient Kemet way of life. And Kemet is another name for Egypt, or ancient Egypt, and where we focused on the Black Egyptians. So basically, of course, this is the Holy Bible, it's the King James Version, and it is the original African Heritage Study Bible. So basically, I did not throw the Bible away, but like I said, the Bible is actually, and it also has like cool pictures in it too, but and no copyright infringement intended. But the Bible, some of the things are actually derived from ancient Kemet and placed in the Bible, but it has been twisted and turned around to fit a European perspective. The story of Mary, Joseph, and Jesus was taken from ancient Kemet many years before the Bible was even written. There was Asar, Aset, and Haru, and that is the divine Trinity. That's the original Trinity, and I've done videos on that before, so you can go and check that out. And I may do a revised version of it, or recap, but right now I'm going to go through it fairly quickly. So in the Bible, you have Mary, Joseph, and Jesus. That story was derived from ancient Kemet of Asar, Aset, and Haru. Asar, known as the god of vegetation, so that's why if you research Asar, you might find him as the color green, because he was known as the god or the father of vegetation, where he was about planting and growing things. So, and Aset, of course, was his sister, and also Nephtheh, and also Set. So the story of Cain and Abel also comes from that particular ancient Egyptian or ancient Kemet Set, where Set killed Asar because he was jealous of Asar. And Set cut up Asar into pieces. He cut his body into pieces. He killed him, and he scattered his body all over. So Set was very heartbroken by this, So she goes and she searches for his body parts, as the story goes, or has the ancient Egyptian myth goes. So she searches for his body. She puts his body back together in pieces, and through magic, or she had every part except for the penis, except for that main part, because she was very heartbroken and sad because she didn't have any children. She wanted to have a son. So through magic, or what they called magic back then, or what we know today as voodoo or voodoo, and I know this for some of you this is a little outlandish, but stick with me, bear with me. So through that ritual that she performed, she became pregnant. This is also known as the Immaculate Conception. She became pregnant with her son Haru, and Haru, when he became older, he avenged his father's death. So he and Set had a battle with each other. So I'm going to stop it right there. And then I'll probably come back a little later and I'll get into details and get in depth with that. But back to September 23rd, 2017. That's what we're on right now. That's what we want to talk about. So, and the author mentioned in the article, he said, "Firstly, I would like to say this is not a religious publication. We don't promote organized religion in any way, and I personally look at books such as the Bible and other holy books as metaphorical and allegorical contexts." And I agree with that. Now, if you are a Christian and you happen to come across this video, please do not be offended, because I was once where you were. Now, I'm just studying things not from a European view or European perspective, which is the way the Bible is written, but it was taken out of context from Africa, or the African people. It is not up for debate. It is not up for discussion. I'm not getting into that because, I researched it. It is what it is. This is what I now study and what I now believe in. So if you don't, cool. I'm not going to get into an all-out argument over this or anything of that nature. So, if you want to continue to live a Christian life or be a part of organized religion, then that's great. But right now, I'm focused on spiritualism and spirituality, and that's where I am right now. So, with that being said, let's go on with the article. On September 23rd, the moon will be placed at the feet of the constellation Virgo, a virgin woman. Above this constellation will be 12 stars, the 9 stars of Leo, and the planets Mercury, Venus, and Mars. Jupiter will finally pass through the womb of Virgo after 9 months, giving the full appearance of a birthing. So let's check out Revelation chapter 12, verses 1 through 2. And let's see what it says. So we're going to go to Revelation